Hey, we're live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Excuse me. Still got a little bit of a cough. We're doing it a little bit different today. You may have noticed my sound and look different. We're live streaming back with the iPhone 7 today because I wanted to see if the audio sync problem that people always complain about every single time gets fixed with that phone. It didn't seem to be as common back then, but again, we haven't live streamed with this format in a long time. So anyway, let me get the chat open here. Hello, Quinton, A, Mango, Aaron, Sergio, Tech World, Breakfast. How's everyone doing today? It is your November 14th Apple Sheep check-in. Yeah, it's been an interesting last couple of days for the past week at Tech. Nothing too exciting going on. A lot of weird rumors spreading quickly though. Something that I guess I should stop complaining about. Because it's starting to feel like this is just something we need to come to expect with iPhone rumors and iPhone hype and leaks and stuff like that, is that already there's been a bunch of rumors for next year's iPhone already, like that or Face ID on the HomePod. Like, is that I have a very hard time believing that. I really don't think that's true. First of all, do speakers need to be unlocked like your AirPods? Your AirPods don't have any form of security on them. If someone stole them, they could definitely just keep using them. But I mean, that goes the same for any pair of headphones, really. If you plug them in, they're yours. But at the same time, yeah, we're hearing about the iPhone 10 Plus, which is just a 6.5-inch version of the 10. While at the same time, we're hearing about this 6.1-inch LCD iPhone with Face ID. Like, it's such a weird rumor, and I'm like, it's way too early in the game for us to know anything. I personally believe that the LCD phone rumors will be either squished, or at least the size of it will be squished. Like, but I would find more likely a rumor I might believe in is a 5.2-inch LCD Face ID enabled iPhone. So basically an SE refresh, because a lot of people are saying the iPhone SE is a good buy. Is it still a good buy? I think it is. It's a good purchase. Especially because they keep getting cheaper now. So I think the starting price of the SE is like $350, which is not bad at all. But yeah, it's still a bare minimum iPhone. It's not a crazy fancy iPhone. So what I would find more believable is a LCD with Face ID, the home bar, gesture powered, side button powered iPhone that kind of takes the place of the SE. And then on top of that, we have a 5.8-inch OLED one with updated specs and cameras and stuff like that. And then on top of that, we also have the iPhone 10 Plus, which would be insane. So yeah, that I would find a bit more believable. I don't know why Apple would make a 6.1-inch LCD, a 5.8-inch OLED, and a 6.5-inch. I think that's just weird, and I think that's early rumors spreading fast and turning into theories a little too quickly. Apple doesn't even know what they're making yet. Okay, they're in the process now of deciding what the 2018 lineup is going to be. It's pretty safe to say that I think a 10 Plus is pretty likely. This is cool and all, and we love the 10, and you've been hearing all the great things about the 10, I'm sure. I think the next step is a bit too obvious. It's just like, well, yeah, now make a bigger version of it. It's a little bit straightforward. Of course, we don't know what it actually would be called. 10 Plus is the code name. Similarly, for the whole year before this came out, we called it the 8. It's not the 8 now, but again, we're never going to know the names truly until they're unveiled, and that's long ways away. So 10 Plus is just the go-to name as of now. You decided to cancel YouTube Red for a month. Can't handle this. Definitely going back next month. I got too spoiled with it. Yeah, Scott, it is nice for sure. iPhone 10 Plus with Face ID. So when a person is stealing your phone, but it keeps scanning your face, then it will stop the hacker. Yeah, that was kind of my idea with Face ID, was that if it detected a face that was not you, it would instantly lock, but maybe they don't have the battery or something. They don't have the battery for that for some reason. I don't know. Perhaps next gen they'll do that. One of my complaints with the 10, and there's not many, is likely the camera bulge. A little bit too noticeable, a little bit too obvious. They haven't really shown any efforts to remove the camera bulge for the past few smartphones. If anything, it gets a little bit worse each time. Like on the 7 and the 8, the aluminum mold to the camera bulge is kind of a progressional thing, like a mountain. On the 10, it's like a harsh 90-degree cut. It's not molded up at all, which makes the protrusion very noticeable when not using a case. So, yeah, I've seen next year's lineup. I'd probably get the 10 Plus, but I have a theory that the 10 Plus would not be as popular as the Plus model iPhones were. Like, the iPhone 7 Plus outsold this regular 7. More people are interested in that better camera and the bigger size. More people got used to that. I feel like the 10 Plus is going to be a bit more for people. I don't think the majority of iPhone users will be able to adopt a 6.5-inch display. That's quite a jump. And this is already quite massive, given it's the largest iPhone display we've ever had. But it's a great form factor. So, like I said, it fits anyone's hand, even if you were used to the regular 7 or the regular 8. This is fine for that. It's not much larger of a form factor. It's very easy to get used to. So the amount of users and the amount of customers that would actually be okay with getting a plus size 10, I think would be a bit smaller, especially at the price point. I think they'd be paying for it too. It would be a lot. Apparently it will unlock with your reflection in the mirror, so I wonder if it will open with an HD video of your face. Why do you need to lock your HomePod? What's on there? What's on there that needs to be private? Are you doing baking? Are you editing? I just thought it was a speaker. I just thought it would unlock with the phone in the area. If your Apple Watch is unlocked or your iPhone is unlocked and you're near the HomePod, then it unlocks. It's not a mobile product. If they do implement an always-on Face ID to the 2018 iPhone, they could partner with Samsung to provide the ultimate security feature. If someone steals your phone, it would explode. Yes, that'd be a good one. Yeah, that would prevent people from using the Note 7. You know why in your growing up Samsung ad, no one ever lined up for the Note 7? Because I do. Edgar, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad you like the channel. I don't think there will be a Plus model. Why would Apple want the future to be a small yet large phone and highly powerful just to contradict it with a large phone? They used to, in the Steve Jobs era, say that they had no interest in making phones that were bigger and that they were too awkward and too clumsy. But then they came around. You know, they made the 6 and 6 Plus, and then that was the best-selling iPhone they ever had. I think what Apple realizes, they figured this out, and I agree with them for it. What Apple has realized, I see the super chat, I'll get to that in a second. People really only notice substantial upgrades when the display changes. So they know that the 6 was a big one. Okay, that was the example of a home run. The 6 and 6 Plus sold like crazy. Everyone loved them. They loved how big the displays were. They loved that the display, the form factor was finally changing. 6S is okay. You fixed a lot of the 6. Okay, what about the 7 though? 7 came out and biggest complaint is, like this is just like the 6. It's barely any different and you just remove the headphone jack. 8 comes out, what does everyone say? This form factor, we've seen it before. We've seen this form factor. We know about this design. People want changes in looks. If the display doesn't change, no one gets too excited about it. So they were like, okay, with the OLED iPhone, the 10, we have to make sure that it's a substantial change, a noticeable one, a noticeable refresh. That's how you get people excited. So obviously, I think hype levels for the 10 were higher than likely ever were, and probably ever will be for a long time, because even next year's iPhones, while they'll be varying in size, they won't be terribly different. They won't be a substantial upgrade as the 7 to the 10 was. You'll still have your home bar, your side button, your Face ID, and your vertical dual camera on the back. So apart from that, it's not terribly different. But at the same time, you can get people excited for things by showing off larger displays, differentiating displays. So based on the rumors, I think Apple likes releasing 3 iPhones a year at this point, because they know they have such a wide demographic. In order to meet all of them, they have to make at least 3 different varying form factors or sizes. So I think, no, the 10 Plus would not be for everyone. In fact, most people who try the 10 Plus, I think, would not be okay with it. They'd be like, this is like approaching iPad mini levels of huge. Just trying to imagine, when I hold my 10, I'm just trying to imagine a phone that's about an inch taller that way. Like, it's hard to imagine a phone that large. But at the same time, I never thought I would like the 6 Plus back when that came out until I tried it. And when I did, I was like, yes, I really enjoyed it. I was like, oh, I got used to this very quickly. A lot of people said it's a bit much, it's a bit substantially large, but now, of course, the Plus model iPhones are the most popular, and everyone's used to that completely normally. No one's no one's worried about that at all at this point. They're like, oh yeah, that's how big phones are. But again, when they first came out, it was a substantial change, and people weren't okay with it at first glance. Like when people were on the 5S and they saw the 6 Plus, they were like, no, can't do that. But they got used to it. Can you show yours closer to camera? I could, but you could just watch the best smartphone ever review, because I get really close to the 10 in this one. What Apple products are next to be announced / refreshed next year? Okay, that's a good question. Thomas Monks. First thing, I think we'll not get a keynote in March. We'll get a website refresh. Within that refresh, I'm anticipating we're going to get the wireless charging AirPods, the AirPower Matte, and I'm going to predict a new color for the iPhone 10. Probably blush gold, but there is a chance it could be a product red or a ceramic white kind of look. I don't know. But I'm anticipating that Apple's not done with the colors on the 10. They understand that people want more colors and more diversity, and right now they just had to focus on making as many as possible. But very shortly, as they get Face ID and manufacturing worked out, as they get this process nailed down to a science, that's when they can start throwing in more colors. Sorry, Brian. Super Brianable says Portless Challenge on a bus. I forgot to read the super chat. That's it. Portless Challenge on a bus. It's like, remember the Zonf mobile battery pack I showed you guys? It's on my desk right now, but you can take a Qi charger everywhere you go. So again, it's very easy. You can literally just hold the charger on the back of the phone, and then it's charging as you're using it. Really simple. So yeah, Portless Challenge on a bus wouldn't be a problem. HomePod release date? I wish I knew. I wish I had an exact date I could prepare for, but at this point, Apple just keeps saying December, coming at some point. You know, I wish I had an exact date to look forward to. That'd be exciting. But if I had to guess, I'm assuming like right dead center in the middle of December. So December 15th. I don't know. Again, that's coming from no evidence. That's coming from no knowledge. That's literally just a shot in the dark. I'm guessing. So I don't know. I have no idea. I'm really hoping they don't end up delaying it like they delayed the AirPods, because they thought the AirPods would be ready by October. Turned out they weren't ready till about the 3rd week of December. So that kind of sucked. Any idea of the AirPods wireless charging case release date or AirPower? Well, Ian, I just said March of 2018. So, because Apple, they've said on their website that that's not coming till 2018. Apple never really releases things in January and February, but they've been known for quite a few years to release things in March. So I'm saying March of 2018. I don't think there's any SE2 rumors. I think there's concepts. I don't think the rumors about making an SE that are true, because they're baseless. There's no leaks. There's no patents. There's no evidence of some kind of testing going on. That there isn't. There's not much going on there. I was mentioned in the Chris Perillo videos. So yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see it, but yeah, a lot of people kept telling me I was brought up. He watches my videos, which I appreciate. It's nice to hear that. The new update unlocked fast wireless charging. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll have to try that. I've got my fast wireless charger enabled, but I just need Apple to update the OS for it. If that's cool, if it's ready. I ordered my iPhone 10 on the 2nd of November. When do you think you'll be able to pick up? Well, it should tell you when you ordered it. It should tell you when. Would Apple put Face ID on the MacBooks? Of course, they're going to put Face ID on everything. I thought that was kind of the given. They're confirming that is the future. They they're more confident with Face ID than anything else. They're going to put it on the iPad next, which it's not very hard to predict what the 2018 iPad will be. It's like, okay, remove the home button, have the same size bezel all the way around, implement Face ID and perhaps glass on the back, so we can start moving into large device wireless charging. But yeah, I came up with that concept. I was like, here's my idea for a 2018 iPad Pro, and then a month later, Venya Geskin basically posted the exact same thing. It's like the exact same concept, the exact same look, and the same premise. I was like, well, there you go. Well, anything that'll be updated. The Mac Mini's not been updated in a long time. If they do update the Mac Mini, then they'll probably put Face ID on it. But yeah, what is your opinion on the silicone case? I love them. What I look for in cases is ones that you can take off very easily. That's what I love about the silicone case for the 10. And all the phones, I usually have silicone cases for all my iPhones because I like going caseless, but at the same time when I go out or when I'm out and about and I'm worried about dropping it on concrete or whatever, I want to be able to slip a case on really quickly. What I don't like is the big OtterBox or Grip, D-brand Grip cases that are like half plastic. You have to snap those together and then on top of that put the rubber on top, and I think it's unnecessarily complicated. Silicone cases are very protective in my experience. They make the phone feel secure and they make it feel like it's not going to break. And they're very easy to take on and put off, which is what I prefer. No Face ID on Mac Mini, but Face ID screen. Well, again, things that get updated. Yeah. Things that get updated will get Face ID. Do you think Apple's MacBook lineup is overpriced? I can see the argument, but at the same time, I like the way they're doing it now, and I wouldn't want them to start cutting corners to make them cheaper. I like the MacBook lineup as it is. My 2016 MacBook Pro, I've been thinking about making a video about recently, has aged extraordinarily well. The amount of capabilities the 4 USB-C ports enables, being able to like, I posted about this on every social media site, being able to output to 2 monitors at once while being plugged into 2 external hard drives while also having a spare port to charge your phone with. All at the same time while importing footage. I also had that going on. Like it really just showed off the power of Thunderbolt 3 and what happens when you have 4 of those ports. Like I can edit 4K footage. I can edit lots of 4K footage at the same time while outputting all this other data while also running the main monitor that's on the MacBook itself. Like that's a lot going on for a MacBook, and I'm very happy I purchased it. It's great RAM management and really great multitasker. Screen flickering. Yeah, take it to Apple if you have screen flickering. I haven't had any problems with mine. I've been hearing about some, but yeah, no green lines, no crackling sounds, no flickering. Sorry if that happens. Anytime a phone company is trying to pump out as many iPhones as they are, there's bound to be problems. Do you still call it portless charging or not? No. I call it wireless charging now because there's not some different version of charging that is actually wireless. If there were to be a new technology that was consumer ready, that was available, that allowed you to charge without a pad, that allowed you to just plug in a little cone thing, which is in the works. There's a company called the Pi, just Pi, that's working on truly wireless charging, where it could charge your phones from great distances, but great distances like a foot, which is still impressive. But yeah, if that was available to the public, then I would consider that wireless charging, and I would consider Qi charging portless charging. That's when I would change my terminology. But as of now, there is no such thing as that, and you can't buy a product that charges over the air that far. So that's what I would start calling it, portless charging. But as of now, Qi charging is the closest we can get to wireless charging. So technically, yes, you do still need wires. You got to plug in your Qi pads and you got to have them ready. But at the same time, even if they came up with a little dome or a little pyramid that could charge your devices from 3 feet away, 5 feet away, you would still have to plug that in. So nothing's ever truly wireless. So I think it gets silly if you start saying it's not really wireless. It's like, well, come on, it's the closest we can get to it, so let's just call it wireless. It's easy to remember. You should make your own phone. I've thought about it. I've done concepts on hardware and software for how I would design my own tech ecosystem, but yeah, that would be decades away. And almost everyone watched it so you can get more views from the other iPhone 10 reviews. Well, what you guys don't realize, I guess I'm trying not to talk about the YouTube demonetization thing because I'm sure you guys are sick of it and you don't want to hear about it. You just want to focus on the tech stuff, so I'll try to be brief, but one issue we're running into is there seems to be a predetermined bias with the bot because I published my folio case review. It was just called folio case review, and it was monetized, no problem. Down the road, I changed the name of the video to iPhone 10 folio case review, and that's when it got demonetized. It was right after I changed the name. So it's very clear that the bot has this bias to say that if you put iPhone 10 in the title, you're going to get demonetized for it. That's why the iPhone 10 review is not called iPhone 10 review. It was called Best. And then as it got monetized and for a few days it seemed to be okay, I changed it to Best Smartphone Ever Review, just so it's a tad more descriptive. And maybe down the line when there's not as many views, I'll change it to iPhone 10 Review. But at this point, I'd rather it stay monetized because it took a lot of work and it was, it took a lot of editing and a lot of filming to make that happen. So I don't want to see that get demonetized. So I have to tread very, very lightly. This live stream is likely going to be demonetized right after it happens. That's YouTube issued a statement saying that they're working on this update that will make the bot better and a lot of the demonetization will be fixed. It hasn't shown. It's only gotten worse. A lot of people are like, is it getting better or has it stayed the same? It's neither. It's getting progressively worse. We've now reached a point where on Tailosive Talks, every single video that gets uploaded is demonetized. Every single one. That's not a joke. Like, Hello World, vlogs, Live Live, everything on there gets demonetized as soon as it's published. They're like, nope, not allowed. Nope, not allowed. Even though none of it disregards the guidelines, I'm the most clean, family-friendly YouTuber possible. Doesn't matter. And on the tech channel recently, we've experienced that too. Basically every video getting demonetized, which is very frustrating. Can you make it clear in the thumbnail what the vid is about? I think it is. It's a 35-minute video and it's a picture of an iPhone 10. I think most people can figure out what it is. Down the road, I might change the name of it. Would you ever consider working for Apple? You seem pretty outgoing, and you obviously love Apple, so... Well, the thing is, I wouldn't... I kind of do already, because I convince so many people to buy Apple products. I get that comment all the time. You convince me to switch back, or you convince me to buy this. So they don't pay me, but I do work for them. I don't know what I would do for Apple, though, if I was on the payroll. Like... I'm not a programmer, I'm not a coder, and I'm not an engineer, so I really wouldn't know how to help them other than things they probably already have positions for. What I'm really good at is being able to use a device and say what it's supposed to do. Say, this is this is how the device should work, and this is what it should do. And this feature is bad, this feature is good, focus on this, don't focus on this. That's all I'd really be good at, and I don't think they would hire someone just for that purpose. If anything, I'd be good at marketing. I guess that's kind of what I already do, is just tell people to buy stuff and put the competition right up next to the iPhone, which Apple doesn't really like to do. Usually in their ads now, they just talk about how great they are, which is fine. I actually prefer that, opposed to the Samsung method, which is just to like make fun of your counterpart, make fun of your competitor, and make them seem stupid. You know, like, you have a haircut that has a notch in it. It's like, you're dumb. That's why you buy Apple, you're dumb. I don't like that. It's juvenile. It doesn't convince anyone, first of all, whereas having an actual deep discussion and I think bringing up the competition, it's something I would disagree with for Apple's marketing campaign, is they just like to show you how great the product is. I think they should actually bring out the competition, bring out the Pixel, bring out the Galaxy phones, and then explain why the iPhone is better, because it has clear advantages. So I think it'd be very simple. You could work in marketing. Like I said, I kind of already am. Be an Apple Store employee, they pay you for basically everything you already know. It's a very different job, though. Like, being an Apple Store employee means working with people who don't know anything about their tech, whereas this job right now is more about telling you guys what is the best tech and what is yet to come. Like iOS 12, for example. Yes, I don't know why they're spamming iOS 12. Doesn't... What about it? We know nothing about it. Okay, just keep writing for it. I have nothing to say about iOS 12. There's no leak. Even if it's a week before it comes out, there's not really leaks about it. Oh, thank you, Mike and Tosh. That was nice of you. I work at Carlos says I work at AT&T and I have to teach everyone on any type of tech. Exactly. So I'm saying, in this job, I get to theorize about how tech should work and how tech will work, and what tech is yet to come out. If I worked at an Apple store, I would have to tell everyone why their tech is working the way it is. And most of the time, I kind of already do that with my friends and family. Most of the time, it's your phone's too old. You need to buy a new one. And if I had to say, I know I would have to say that all the time. If I worked at an Apple store, people wouldn't like it. Quick, not tech question. Why a food channel? Love all the channels, by the way. Why not? It's just easy clicks. It's like, you gotta eat, right? So might as well film it and get some views out of it. Yes, Face ID will be on the MacBook. Is that a mysterious question? Like, is that a big hypothesis? I wonder if they would put something that they put on a phone onto a laptop like they've already done. Like, come on, it's very simple. Face ID versus Touch ID. I made a whole video on that. You should watch it. What do you think when all smartphones are all screen and all the bezels are gone? Wouldn't all smartphones look identical now? What design changes will smartphone companies start doing now? That's the ultimate problem all of these smartphone companies are going to run into, is that I think already they kind of all look the same. Galaxy S8, iPhone 10, I mean, look at them. Look at them. Their sizes are a little bit different. Their curves are a little different, but apart from that, as soon as we reach 100% screen-to-body ratio, there's not much hardware-wise you can change. That's why operating systems are going to make or break phones in the future. If you don't have a solid operating system with a solid ecosystem around it, it's going to be ridiculous to go by designs. We're already seeing that cameras in different smartphones are so almost identical now, between taking pictures, slight variation, barely any change, and then cameras, of course, there's, 10 has optical image stabilization and a digital, and the Pixel has a single lens, and Note 8 has a dual camera and stuff like that. They're all a little bit different, but they all take really good video. A few years down the line, all of the cameras are going to be almost so identical. We'll nail portrait mode, we'll nail zoom and everything. They'll be so identical that the only real reason to buy a phone will be the software on it, because hardware-wise, we'll remove the camera bulge, we'll make them light, we'll make them thin, we'll remove all the bezels, we'll make the login, whether it's Face ID or fingerprint reader, it'll be secure. Eventually, you're going to stop buying smartphones because of their hardware, because everyone's going to get so tied with features that there won't be any exclusives to go to. Which, again, the only exclusive will be the software. So that's why iOS and Android is the biggest question for the future of who's going to succeed, is which operating system do people prefer. It's not going to be about hardware in the future, because in 10, 20 years, all hardware is going to be almost identical. And it'll just matter what's on the screen, not the screen itself. What are your opinions on Apple Cash? Yeah, I got the beta program. I have Apple Cash. I can bring that up here. See? I got it already on there. Apple Pay Cash is available for the beta testers. I used it at a restaurant the other day that accepts Apple Pay. I got Apple Pay Cash on there. I just hold it up to the reader. It works. Pretty simple. It's just kind of Apple's version of PayPal. You can put money on it. You can send and receive money on it from iMessage, which is really easy. So, yeah, it's great. I love it. I'm confused as to why it's only available for developers and not for everyone else, because it works. I've experienced no problems with it. So I wish they would just activate it for everyone. Same with fast wireless charging. Now that they went with wireless charging, will they adopt a ceramic back versus glass? Probably at some point. Ceramic's more durable. If they found a way to make it affordable, well, I guess the Essential phone made it pretty affordable. But Have you used the peer-to-peer feature? Yeah. I send and sent money with people all the time. Yeah, I actually just got one. Yeah, I just got an Apple Pay Cash. I won't show you the name, but yeah, there's a Patreon person. He was a long-time Patreon donor. Said he got the beta and he was wanting to see if Apple Pay Cash worked for him, and it did. We tested it out and it works. It actually, here, I'll cover his name here. It actually shows like this black, all black message. It just says Apple Pay Cash, and then there you go. It sends the whole message in dark when they send you money, which is really, really cool. I love it. I'm really excited for everyone to have that, because then there's less of a need for me to go over to Facebook Messenger. That's one thing Facebook Messenger really does well, is sending money back and forth. It's instant. There's no fees. But I'm excited to do it with Apple Pay as well. Yeah, it is awesome. I love it. Fixed mic. It's quiet. We're on a phone today, so we can't do that. Just turn it up. Why iPhone instead of Note 8? Mainly ecosystem, but I'd recommend just hearing what people have to say about both. Just listen to people's experiences. People who use the iPhone 10 are very, very satisfied with it, and I'm sure the people who use the Note 8 are satisfied. But Android, you're going to get about 2 updates out of that thing, and then you're good. Whereas this is going to get software updates and added features that it doesn't have yet for years and years to come. Whereas your Note 8 is going to get a couple a year after the update's available for Pixel owners. And Samsung phones, from my experience and from a lot of my fans' experience, definitely slow down very quickly, depending on the one you get. Some people have had it work for them just fine, but a lot of people I've interacted with or talked to me about their Galaxy S8 say that they're fast and they love them at first, but as time goes on, they very, very quickly die down. The processors get slower, and then it's not worth it. Would you recommend waiting to get the AirPower mat or buy a third-party wireless charger? Well, get a wireless charger now. They're only $12. You can get really, really cheap ones easily. Whereas the AirPower mat is not available till March. And that, again, that's my guess. It could be even later. I don't know. And the AirPower mat's probably going to be like $250 or $200. A lot. So, there's no point in waiting for the AirPower mat. I'm very confused as to why Apple didn't make their own wireless charger. Like, why didn't Apple just make their own Qi charger that you just rest your phone on? Not an AirPower mat, just a regular one. You could have made money there, Apple. Don't you like money? You could have made your own, and I bet everyone would have bought it. Just a little, maybe one like the Samsung ones. I love the Samsung ones that prop the phone up. I got another wireless charger. I showed it off in the last live stream, I think, that you can just rest your phone on, and it's propped up, and it charges. It works great. If Apple would have just made something like that, would love it. What color do you prefer all your Apple products to be? I like the space gray ecosystem. I think it looks the slickest, but I've talked about before, if they supported a product red ecosystem, I would likely switch. I love that color scheme. But they really only did it once on the iPhone 7, and now you can't even buy that. Why do you think $250 is just an arbitrary guess, or is there something else? I can guess because we know it's powered via USB-C, we know it's from Apple, and we know there's a lot of power going through it. So as in the AirPower mat itself has a ton of coils in it. If it's able to charge an AirPods case, if it's able to charge an Apple Watch, they had to have designed it differently than most Qi chargers for it to work. And hypothetically, you should be able to charge multiple iPhones on it at the same time. And they wanted to do, fast wireless charging, which means that half of the price of the AirPower mat is going to be the charge brick. For those of you who don't know that, it's somewhere else. The USB-C power brick that charges MacBook Pros, those are not cheap. And I'm anticipating that they might even have a 63 watt to 87 watt charge brick that goes with the AirPower mat. Obviously, if you buy the mat, you should get the brick. And if that's the case, you realize that a USB-C cable and an 87 watt USB-C power brick, like the one I use to charge my MacBook, that combo costs $100 alone. So that's not to mention the wireless charging capabilities. The fact that this is an exclusive wireless from Apple, and it's a bigger one, and it can charge multiple things at once, I'm just anticipating, given that Apple markets the Mophie one that's $60. If this one can charge multiple phones and your watch and AirPower and AirPods via USB-C, it's going to be around $200. That's my guess. Did you hear about the iPhone 10 Plus? Yes. Do you think it's real or just something made up? If you don't know about it, you can just search it up. Apparently, it's just a Plus model for the 10. Guys, nothing exists yet. Apple's still working on what the next lineup is. Everything's in the conceptual stage, even for Apple right now. So there really can't be leaks because nothing's official. Apple doesn't decide what's coming out this far in advance. They're focused more right now on making sure they make enough of these. I think that's the primary focus, is demand. The demand for this is incredibly high, and they need to be able to meet that demand. So that's what they're focused on right now. I don't think they know anything about next year's lineup. They're theorizing, and I think just anticipating a larger phone is a very simple guess, because what do you do when a phone's popular? You diversify. You make smaller versions and larger versions of it, so it doesn't take a genius to guess that the next year's iPhone will probably just be a bigger version of what we already have, with better specs and performance and stuff. It's more like predictions, don't you think? Yeah, it's predictions, but I mean it's like my iPad Pro concept. It's very easy to guess that the next iPad will just take all of the things the iPhone 10 did. That's a very simple assumption, and it's probably true. So you can do the same with the 10 Plus. It's like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. Likely have a roadmap of what future iPhones will be like multiple years down the line. Well, they have rough ideas, but again, it's nothing set in stone. It's not like there will be a 10 Plus. They're just theorizing at this point. They still gotta design the phone. I'm sure they have conceptual stages where they're, Johnny Ive wants the whole phone to be display with no bezels at all, and then this is one of those steps on the way to that concept. So yeah. Obviously, next year's iPhone will be better than this year's. Who knew? Wow. 2018 MacBook Pro. A lot of people asking about that. I don't think they change MacBook Pro designs that often. I don't think MacBooks are something that get annual refreshes. They get processor enhancements. At the keynotes, they like to put new processors in them. They change their prices. They might get cheaper. They make them faster. They provide more storage options. But design approaches, I don't think we're close to one, because we heard about the MacBook Pro redesign long before it came out. We got leaks of what the unibody would look like and the design changes and the patents they were making and the touch bar. We knew all about that before it came out, and because we're not hearing anything at this point, wouldn't count on it. I'm guessing that next year the MacBook Pro is relatively going to look just like the one we have now, with faster stuff on the inside, because just look at the history of MacBook Pros. They don't update them every year. They don't update the design of them every year. They update the specs. Roberto Blake gave you a shout out on Chris Brio channel, said you were going to be someone to watch. Kindred Spirit. Yeah, it was very nice of him. I heard about that. It was very nice of him to do that. People are saying how Google is the best as they took over YouTube, but it's funny because ever since Google took over YouTube, it has gotten a lot worse. It has, but at the same time, YouTube was not independent for a long time. Google bought them pretty early. So YouTube as we know it exists under the Google realm, yes, but and likely a lot of YouTube wouldn't have been possible without Google's funding, without Google's supply of money. Like we want Google to run YouTube well. I don't think the only solution to get YouTube to a good state again, to a good social network, is that they cannot be owned by Google. I haven't gotten that far. I haven't made that assumption. There is a good way they can run YouTube, and we know what it is. They're just not doing it. It's very complicated with all the copyright problems and advertisers pulling out. It's a tough job, but the demonetization bot is definitely not the way to do it. I can even understand to an extent what they were trying to do. They were like, we can't have ads on controversial content. I get that. So they wanted to take action on that. The problem is they're punishing all the people who aren't doing anything wrong. That's where they're taking the misstep. I can understand YouTube saying that while we want you to be able to say what you want to say, we can't have advertisers giving us money if we allow these things to happen. So we're going to need everyone to be more family friendly from now on. and we're going to need you to be careful about language and careful about politics and controversy. Like, we can't just greenlight everything anymore. I get that. The problem is I'm not disobeying any of those laws. I'm following their guidelines exactly. I should be, Tailosive, the whole network, should be an example of a family-friendly, clean, advertiser-friendly channel. That's something ads should be allowed to be on, and I should get reimbursed for that. They're not following up on it. They're not honoring the code. Any issues with the speaker noise and crackling sound in the top left part of the phone frame? I have both. I'm sorry, that's terrible. I have not. Can I prove it to you? I promise you I'm not lying. What can I play? Can I play something really quick? Copyright. There's no crackling, but I'm very sorry. I understand that these kind of gates happen with every release. Every single phone that comes out, every single iPhone, there's a handful that has issues. So I'm sorry, but please take it to Apple Store. I'm sure they'll figure it out for you. Oh, High Hopes 2510. Thank you for a donation. Didn't write anything, but thank you. I love that music too. Yeah, there's a remix of this song on Tailosive Music, which recently hit 1,000 subscribers. So good for them. Yeah, it's exciting. Did he write a comment afterwards? Do you think that in 2 years the iPhone will have a 4K display? I don't know if there's a need to go 4K on a phone. It's just there may be a point where that's so easily possible that it's like, why not throw in a 4K display? But at the same time, it's so unnoticeable, and it would mean the processor and the GPU have to work so much harder, and your battery life would take such a bigger hit that no, I don't think in 2 years we'll have 4K on a phone. We might get 4K on a phone eventually, but I don't think it's a priority for anyone. I mean, Samsung has 2K displays on their phones, but they downscale them out of the box. They downscale the displays to full HD. So, why do you hate the Google Pixel 2 so much? You should watch my videos on them, and I explain. I can't stand them. Do you like Casey Neistat? I'm not subscribed to him, but I like him. Yeah, I think his points made on the demonetization issues are very well said. He seems like a likable guy, but again, I'm not a super loyal subscriber. I don't watch all his videos. Sony Xperia is 4K already. Yeah, and you notice how many people have it. You notice how popular that phone is. Doesn't everyone just line up to buy the Sony Xperia? No, they don't. That's the thing. 4K on a phone isn't a big feature people are excited about. It's a tech spec. It's not a feature. Do you get angry when YouTubers destroy iPhones or generally phones in their videos? I am, because the more I think about it, not only is it wasteful. So first of all, like, I did that video explaining that, like, guys, the glass on the iPhone 10 is the same as the 8. When you drop them, they're probably going to break the same way, okay? We don't need to do drop tests on a phone that's so high in demand. It means that every phone you buy, you're taking it away from a person who just wants to use it and have it because they want it and they can afford it, opposed to someone else who's going to drop it and film it so that they can get more views. I just think there's no law against it, but I just think it's a little selfish to do that. So I made a video just kind of saying, guys, can we hold off on the drop test? We know it'll break. Like, what's the point at this stage? But the more time goes on, I start to realize how pointless durability tests as a whole are. I understand people want to know how durable their phone is. At the same time, if your phone is slightly more durable than another phone, I don't think that means it's allowed for. I don't think that means you should be comfortable with dropping it or scratching it or throwing it in water just for the heck of it. Like, whether or not you saw a video and know that it will be scratched by keys or rocks or whatever, the scratch rating test, 1 to 10, whether or not you know it scratches at that level, you really shouldn't live your life thinking, well, my phone can take this scratch, so I'm gonna just scratch it anyway. It's like, no, just protect your phone. You pay a lot of money for these flagship phones. Whether or not you know if it's scratch resistant or not, you probably shouldn't be that careless with it. That's what I slowly got more confused about because there's totally not all destruction channels are the same. You have one end that's like tech racks that's tie a bunch of iPhones to a tire and roll it down a hill, like something no one would ever do, completely useless, just boring. But on the other end, you have Jerry Rig Everything, which is very sophisticated, very calm, very organized guy who just kind of likes to explain to you how durable a phone is and talk about why it doesn't have a headphone jack. But at the same time, like, what consumer is going to do the durability scratch test on their phone? They're not going to. So at the same time, it's like, well, I understand you want to show off the durability, but also no consumer is going to just buy the scratch test and then scratch their phone because that would ruin it. And at the same time, if you are aware of the scratch resistant test, so like, because that's the defense, is most people are like, well, people want to know. People want to know how durable their phone is. If you find out that your phone scratches at a level 7 or whatever, that shouldn't change the way you use your phone. You shouldn't watch the video and be like, oh, it scratches at 7. Okay, I'm gonna let my keys drop on, or I'm gonna take a butcher knife and hit my phone all the time because I know it'll be fine. It's like, whether or not you know how durable it is, just take good care of your phone. Don't take knives to it. Don't take keys to it. Just I don't see the point. Enrique donated, says, do you think that AirPower will work with Android? And with YouTubers, do you like cars, supercars, and what do you drive? I'm not a car guy, sorry. I don't get super into cars. All the real car I want is the Tesla. That's and because of its smart features, not because it's fast, or not even necessarily because it's eco-friendly, because technically it's not that eco-friendly if you look into it in different aspects. I'm not interested in Tesla because I'm worried about. I think that if we all bought a Tesla, it would fix all of our global warming problems. I know that's not true. I like Teslas because of their smart capabilities, their autopilot technology, and the auto safety technology. Like, I think that's the future. I want a car that can drive itself, and newer Teslas can do that now. We're just waiting on laws. So I'm not really a supercar guy. I think that people who spend all that money on sports cars are kind of wasting their money because everywhere you drive, you kind of have to stay within a certain speed limit. And I'm not the type of person to go over the speed limit. I'm not a rigorous driver. So you should do gaming vids. Well, we have a gaming channel. You should check it out. Do you think that AirPower will work with Android? Yeah, I do. Because in a similar way, AirPods connect with Android, and I think that AirPower will kind of also double as a Qi charger. It'd be kind of cool if they figured out a way to make it only work for iOS Apple devices. They created their own standard that like only works on Apple products. If that's the case, it's kind of nifty. But yeah, I don't think they did that. I think it'll work. No. I didn't say global warming isn't true. I'm saying that if everyone bought a Tesla, we wouldn't fix global warming. It's a much bigger problem than that. It's absolutely true. Let's not get political now. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying that if you look into the science of the lithium batteries you have to buy and in the amount of technology and mining it takes to get lithium batteries, that amount of lithium batteries for electric cars, it's not necessarily cleaner for the environment. It's you charge your car at home now, but that extra power puts more power for the power plant that supplies power to your house. It's messy. I'm not saying it's worse than gas cars. I'm just saying it doesn't fix everything. All I was trying to say was that I'm not interested in Teslas because I think that will fix global warming. There's much bigger problems than that, and the reason I like Teslas is because of their smart features. That's why I like them. I went over the speed limit and lost my license. Not gonna do it again. Yeah, be careful with that. I don't think Tesla's innovative, no, because I think that innovation is not necessarily creating something that no one's ever made before. I think it's taking lots of different things that exist and putting them together in an efficient manner. And what Tesla and Elon Musk has created is a monopoly basically on lithium batteries with the Gigafactory. So they're really prepared for a future that's going to really require a ton of batteries, and I think that there's no other electric autonomous vehicle that competes with Tesla. So I think in that way they're innovative, in a similar way to Apple. Real next leave innovation. The idea of a phone being just screen sounds unpractical to me. Yeah, it's gonna happen. It'll be a little bit awkward. It'll be a bit of a learning curve. But yeah, I mean, there's no denying it. If you could mine lithium in Minecraft, that would be more efficient. Exactly. Why haven't we thought of that? Mine lithium in Minecraft. What will be the next big evolution for AirPods beyond wireless charging, form factor, color, battery life? That's about it. Sound quality? What else can you change? I mean, battery life's already pretty great. I very rarely run out of battery on them. So if they made them better, I'd be like, okay. They could make more colors. I think that would be very, very helpful. They need more diversification. And form factor, they're great. They're tiny. Like, AirPods are so portable. iMac refresh. We just had one. Why would we refresh the iMacs after taking things in? Well, because think about what innovation is. It's taking other things that already have been invented and mushing them together. Any innovation, that's what it really is taking quotes and taking technologies and concepts that other people have come up with. Nothing is actually purely original. Same with movies. Same with TV shows. Everything is based off of something else. Everyone was inspired by a previous mentor. Like no one makes something completely from scratch. Edison invented the light bulb. He didn't invent glass. You know, it's used in a light bulb, but he didn't invent the entire thing. And even that's debatable about who invented that kind of thing. It's like you put together other things that exist into something new. It's called reinventing. No, you can. I don't think Apple reinvented the phone. I think they invented a smartphone. I don't think they well, and technically most innovation is just reinventing things. It's reinventing the candle. There you go, the light bulb. If you were given an opportunity to make an iPhone 10, then what features would you like to add on? Not much. I'd like a software option to remove the notch so that people would stop complaining about it. I'd be okay if it was a little bit thicker and the camera bulge was thinner. I'd remove the lightning port. Yes, believe that. If today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you are about to do today, says Steve Jobs. Yeah, most people probably can't say yes. And oftentimes I'm sure Steve couldn't either. Yeah, originality is a myth, but doing something with your own elements can be original. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah. I'm saying there is things we consider originality, but even originality has to be based on something else. Even something like Star Wars. People are like, there you go, it's based... It's a new entity. It's a brand new film. It wasn't based on a book or a novel or a previous movie or anything. At the same time, heavily influenced by George Lucas's love of Flash Gordon. And in many ways, the Star Wars story is just a different sci-fi painted version of rescuing the princess, you know, with lasers. It's everything is based off of other things. Like I said, the light bulb is not 100%. You know, every part of the light bulb was not invented. Every piece of the light bulb was pre-existing elements that were molded together to make something new, and I think that's what innovation is. Any innovation or just blown up version? I mean, the 10 Plus will have a faster processor, a better camera, better Face ID. It'll be an improvement, and it'll be larger. But yeah. iApple says, can you give my channel a shout out? Everyone check out iApple. There's your shout out. If Steve Jobs was still alive now, what do you think the iPhone and all the other Apple product lineups would have been? Honestly, I think they would have been the same. I don't think Steve Jobs would have imagined Apple very differently than it is today. I think he would have loved AirPods. I think he would have loved the Apple Watch. And I honestly think he would have loved the 10. I think it's accompanying all the things Apple wanted in a smartphone, you know, going all display and making it so intuitive. And I honestly think he would have liked the iPhone 10. I do. I think he would have complained about the camera bulge, but who doesn't? But at the same time, he was very, very close to Johnny Ive. And Johnny Ive had a very similar vision to Steve Jobs. And Johnny Ive's still alive. He's still designing things. So I think in that regard, if Steve Jobs were alive today, we'd still have a very similar Apple look. Do you think he would have loved the Apple Pencil? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people take that stylus comment out of question. Steve was referring to the fact that he didn't think the only way to interact with a smartphone was with a stylus. Because at that time, when the original iPhone came out, that was a popular theory that, you know, if you were going to interact with a touchscreen, you needed a stylus. Whereas he was saying your finger is the best touch input, and Apple doesn't disagree with that. They're not saying you can only use the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil. In fact, in many ways, you kind of have to use it with your finger. He was saying that the stylus should not be the only method of input, and at the same time, he was saying stylus was not useful on the iPhone. He wasn't referring to the iPad, which wasn't even out at the time. And I think the idea of having an iPad for people to draw on and for artists to use, I think he would have loved the Apple Pencil. He wasn't thinking about the tablet market at the time. Do you get annoyed when people use Steve Jobs as an excuse for the so-called lack of innovation with Apple products? If Steve Jobs did the exact same thing as today, people would love it. No, people hated Steve Jobs a lot. I mean, keep that in mind, that he was not Apple's haters did not love him. Apple's haters did not think he was a good guy. And in many ways, he wasn't a good guy. He was very mean to a lot of people. He's a very smart man, but at the same time, he had a track record of not treating people with respect or being polite. So I don't think if Steve Jobs were alive and he had released the 10 and the Apple Watch and the AirPods that response to them would have been any different. They would have just said Steve Jobs has lost it. Steve Jobs is out of originality. Whereas if he's dead, then people can make the assumption of it was better with Steve Jobs. It could have been better. It's just it's an argument that'll always be there, and it's impossible to disprove because we don't know what life would have been like if he were here. No one knows. We can only theorize. iPod refresh? No, we don't need that. We don't need single function devices anymore. If you want an iPod, get an unlocked SD. iPhones replace them just fine, exactly. Any lag you've experienced on iOS 11.2 Beta 3? Again, I guess I've just been incredibly lucky with the beta program. I really haven't had any problems, honestly. Mac versus PC, overall pros and cons. Biggest one is updates. I use a Windows 10 PC every day. A lot of people don't know that. We have a gaming PC just across the hall from the tech room, which I use very often. And just the other day, I experienced this thing where my friend was playing a video game on it, and we were watching Netflix at the time, and he looked over and started watching something. And then when he looked back at it, the game had closed, the computer was restarting, and when it restarted, it says, there has been a problem, we need to install these updates now. And it took him a good 20 minutes for all the updates to install. Again, no warning, no asking for user consent. It wasn't asking, can we install these updates? Windows 10 is just going to say, time for updates. And if you keep hitting cancel, if you hit cancel over and over again, eventually it will gray out that option of cancel and just start updating. It'll even restart your computer if you're in the middle of working on something. It's crazy. Macs are very control based on that. If you don't want to update your Mac, you don't have to. It might bring up a pop-up, but it's very easy to dismiss. Again, they give you the choice. Daniel Curry says, do you see Microsoft returning to the phone market? No, they've shown way too much allegiance with Microsoft and Apple, saying that, not Microsoft, Samsung. You can buy a Galaxy S8 with Microsoft software on it in Microsoft stores. And they even show off iPhones and iPads in the Microsoft stores. So it's not like, I think it's too late for them. They've given up on the phone market. They've lost that one. CJ Erzberg says, I love my iPhone 10, but coming from a Galaxy, iOS has a lot of glitches and stutters compared to iOS 6 and Android. Where'd that polished feel go? Well, again, Apple actually updates their phones, so I understand that there may be glitches now. I'm not experiencing a lot, and I'm on the beta. The difference with Android is, yeah, there's probably less glitches, but that's because there's not updates ever. Especially if you were on a Galaxy, you weren't going to get an update for a year, and those updates would have been minor, whereas iOS updates have been known to drastically fix and extend battery life and free up storage on iOS phones for years after their release. You can update an iPhone 4 or 5 years after you buy it. So That polished feel, I'm sure will be fixed shortly because iOS updates come out fairly regularly. Apple's fairly consistent about it. It's not like one update 1 month and then 6 months go by and you get a new one. It's very consistent with their updates. There's usually one a week or one every 2 weeks. So that will get fixed, or with iOS 12 or 13 or 14, you're going to see a completely redesigned OS that hopefully you're going to enjoy and likely is going to be a better experience overall. And no, I haven't experienced the touchscreen freezing in cold weather either, but I'm not in a very cold climate to begin with. Anyway, thank you guys for all of your comments and super chats today. I appreciate all of them. We'll be back to making regular tech videos hopefully tomorrow, and trying to get... oh, you run the beta. Have you tested the new wireless charger? I haven't got the beta yet on my iPhone. It's on my iPad, but I'll get them soon. I'll test out the fast wireless charger. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Finish.